Alright, so this is the next part of the video where I do my small story time. So I haven't owned nearly as many cars as Dan. I've only ever owned one car, and that's the Mustang that you guys have seen in the videos. So I went from 140 horsepower Mazda 3, that's what I was driving before with my parents' car. Actually, no, I lied. Before I was driving the minivan, which had 160 something horsepower. And then I went to the Mazda, which had 140. Both of those were my parents' car. I was fucking in my teenage years, you know. I fucked around with those cars quite a bit. But, no.
I had a bicycle in my teenage years.
But anyways, yeah, so my first car was the 5-liter, the Coyote Mustang that, like I said, you guys have seen in previous videos. And to jump from 140 horsepower to 420 horsepower with a 6-speed manual is a pretty big jump, to be honest. I found myself getting into a lot of trouble with the Mexican police, obviously. So the first story I'm going to tell is I was racing my friend. We both went to Mexico, and yeah, he has a Pontiac G8 GT, and it has the 6-liter L76. It's basically an LS motor. It's basically the engine out of the Corvette, and it has a very light cam on it and an air intake and a transmission tune. So we were in Mexico, and we were obviously, you know, having some fun. I'll have Dan put some of the videos in it, and we were going to go for a run on a pretty major Mexican road, and it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. And my friend was actually with us as well, and he was filming. And all of a sudden, like, we made our run or whatever. We were probably at, like, I'm going to say, like, at least triple-digit speeds in terms of miles an hour. And, yeah, all of a sudden, my friend opens his window in the G8 and he yells, "Look, blue lights, cops!" I look in my rearview mirror, and I shit you not, I see red and blue lights, and it would look like to be some sort of sedan. Later I confirmed it was actually a Charger cop car, but I shit my pants. I turned to my friend and I was like, "What the fuck do I do?" And he was like, "I don't know, man, I would go if I were you." So I downshifted into second, I fucking floored it. My friend with the G8 floored it. I'm sure he'll be watching this video and dying because he remembers it. And yeah, so we were both flooring it again, trying to get away. And I ended up literally going completely sideways onto a side street. Like, I literally was sliding it sideways. And literally, I made it into the side street. I pulled up in some random Mexican's driveway. I turned the car off, and as I was getting out of the car, I saw the cop fly up the main road looking for me. My friend with the G8 ended up going straight, but nobody's going to look for a silver sedan. So obviously the cop was after me. Roche Axelbach's loud car. But yeah, I ended up just barely getting away. I'll never forget that night. That night was pretty fucking scary. I shit myself pretty good. Yeah, that's the only time I've ever ran from the Mexican police. Don't run from the Mexican police. That's a bad thing to do. Don't do that. Definitely don't do that.
Well, you're on a pocket bike with 150 cc's, and you don't really have an option to run.
Yeah. No, if I was in any other car, I definitely would have just pulled over, because like there's no way you're getting away. But like when I was doing all these Mexican races. The car, all it had on it was Roche Axelbachs and Flowmaster mid-pipe and high-flow cats. That's literally all the car had on it. And then it had the 305 tires at the time. So it was quick, but it wasn't as quick as it's going to be now with the tune and the Boss manifold and stuff like that. But yeah, and then, so I'll just also have Dan put in some clips of like all the other fun times I've gone to Mexico and visited my relatives down there. Because that's what I do when I go down there. I go down there and visit my relatives, and then all of a sudden people want to race.
Responsibility comes first.
The responsibility to family comes first.
Yeah.
But yeah, so another time I went down to Mexico, there was a guy with a V6 Mustang, and everybody knows exactly who this guy is. And he has a full bolt-on 3.7 Mustang, and he says he's beaten auto 5.0s before. So I was like, you know what, I'll give my manual a chance to, you know, try that out. So, you know, he lined up beside me, and actually in and out of traffic and stuff. Remember, he pulled up beside me. He actually called me Grandma. You know who you are if you're watching this fucking video.
Come on, Grandma!
But, yeah, so he pulled up beside me, he called me Grandma, and, yeah, the race was on. So we lined up again on another Mexican road, and, yeah, we went at it, and I fucking spanked him really badly.
It reminds me of the... Like, a lot of people with, I know 2 people, I guess, with V6 Mustangs.
Ah, yes! I spanked him really badly, too, because he said he also beat 5 liters.
it's kind of like the same way. Like I pulled up with my Triumph to the light with one of those 427 Cobra Jet.
Yeah.
What are those? The Shelby.
Oh, the Shelby Cobras. Yeah.
Shelby Cobra. I don't know if it was a kit. I don't know if it's real, but it like.
In Mexico as well, right?
Yeah. So guy's in it with his wife. You know, I give a couple revs and it's like 71 horsepower. Dump the clutch. I'm gone.
Yeah, you beat him.
I beat him. He didn't know we were racing, but I beat him, right? So I can go around telling people I beat a 427 Cobra Jet.
Yep.
It's probably one of those situations. The other person's just trying to enjoy their cruise. Yep. Maybe they give it a little bit of gas.
A little bit of gas. See, that's what it is for the sound, yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't go around bragging people saying I want to race. Like, unless I know 100%, it's like it's staged, we're ready to go to race. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Nah.
And, like, that really pisses me off when people are like that, because I'm one of those people that will, like, if somebody says they've beaten a 5.0 before, I'll be like, yeah, no problem, let's race. I had a guy leave me on red 3 times on Instagram. You know exactly who that is, too. Because he posts videos on his Instagram of him beating 5.0s, but for some reason he didn't want to race mine.
Well, because he was talking about it. We were talking about like, the race and stuff like that. He went to racing and stuff. Yeah. But the same day, Joe posted a story about him banging gears.
Oh, yeah, I have that video,
he's
too.
He's pretty quick at shifting. So the guy probably got spooked a little bit, so he's just like,
Yeah, I don't want to race anymore.
Because the guy, like, you can make like 14 sandwiches, you can feel the shelter by the time you finish shifting gears.
Yeah, no, I've seen some, then other people, things that piss me off. People when they're like, yeah, like I'm a really good shifter. I have another guy I used to work with, I gotta tell you this one. I had another guy I used to work with, he had a Jetta with a 2.5, and he said, guys, listen to this good knowledge, this one makes Dan happy every time I tell this story. When he races guys, okay, this is what he does. Say he's in second gear, he's about to shift to third, he'll go from second to fourth gear, but then downshift back into third, and it feels like he's getting some kind of boost, he says.
Boost for my brain. That's good. So actually, if you know anything about science, you'll know that shifting into the R will actually give you more power.
Race mode. So that's what I want to do. When next time I have a race in Mexico, I'm literally just going to shift it into R. And yeah, hopefully that'll be good for my transmission. I'm sure it'll like that.
Well, I mean, you have a reverse lockout. It's not a Spitfire, right?
Yeah, I actually do have a reverse lockout.
Eventually, there's a little bushing inside my transmission, and my old transmission, and it went. And basically, was always had the reverse lockout open. So if you and also, basically, it just wasn't able to like the shifter wasn't touching the shifter fork kind of thing. So it was kind of screwed up. Basically, you're just guessing of what gear you're gonna go into. Yeah. Like up is gonna be 1 or 3 or reverse, and down will be 2 or 4. You just I don't know. You'll get whichever one you get, basically, right? Yeah. So if you kind of miss third, it's a nice little vibrates your whole arm.
Good, feels good.
So that transmission's long gone.
Yeah, no, that's a great story. One last, I guess, little thing I want to touch on. Like, okay, so the reason I bought a Mustang was because my dad actually has a really mint Fox body that was his first ever car. My brother drives it around now. But it's so mint. It's an 85 GT. It doesn't have anything special done to it. Just some long tube headers, some gears, basic stuff, suspension, new tires. But yeah, it's a fun, quick car. Fuck, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so before that car was restored, after I was learning manual with the Civic and then Mike's Prelude, obviously, my dad was like, yeah, I'm gonna let you drive the Mustang now. And I was like, oh fuck yeah, like I'm so ready. So we went out in it or whatever, and yeah, we were driving around the area, and I was like, I'm gonna do a pull. And my dad was like, be careful, the car doesn't have brakes on it yet, because the car had original brakes from 1985. They were fucking horrible, they did not work at all. So I was like, yeah, I'll do maybe a first to second gear pull. So I dumped the clutch, I floored it, I was probably at like, I'm gonna say like 130 kilometers an hour, I was just about to shift into third. I saw the stop sign pretty far ahead. I was like, oh, I better start stopping now. So I go ahead and I start pumping the brakes. Nothing's fucking happening. The car's not stopping. I put the e-brake up. Nothing fucking happens. I literally was like, fuck, what do I do? I mean, now that I think back about it, I probably could have downshifted into first or slow the car down.
That's what I did with this thing for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I just didn't want to break anything, right? So I was like, fuck, what do I do? I looked down at the speedometer right as I was going through the stop sign, and I rolled through it at about 80. Yeah, that made me shit my pants pretty good. Especially with my dad being in the passenger seat and it being his first car and it meaning so much to him. If I would have wrecked that car, he probably would have killed me. But yeah, this is even before I had my Mustang, so good stuff. he's driven my car around before, and he floors it sometimes too. So you know, he gets back. Equal trade. But yeah, I think that's all the stories I have for now. Anyway, we gotta get Mr. Steve here on the next episode to tell his stories. He has a lot of good stories. Mustang story. Anyways, guys, thanks for listening, and peace out from me and Dan. Appreciate it. Subscribe, like the video. Take care, guys. Comb your hair.